Hi, everyone. Today I want to talk to you about the 7 laws of the universe. This is going to be a game changer for you. So you're going to want to have to tune in and hang in there. And I'm also going to give you a secret, the secret of how you can also do exactly what I do. Okay. And I know that sounds difficult but it's not. And you can get there. So one of the things that I want to explain as well is that, a lot of people say I'm psychic. A lot of people say that I'm extremely gifted. And some people have said, like, do you have a camera in my house? And how do you know this much about me? And you've articulated the essence of who I am better than I could have ever understood it myself. You have shaved off years and years of struggling in my life, and even in my children's lives, and in my husband or my partner's or my wife's life. And a lot of this has to do with somehow I am directly connected to the universe, especially once I start tapping into you, tapping into your energy, and tapping into your astrological chart. Astrology is not woo-woo. It's something that goes back into the Babylonian age, and it's part of the 7 laws of the universe. There is actually 7 laws of the universe. This goes back 5,000 years in ancient Egypt, in ancient Greece, and in Vedic in India. 5,000 years ago, when the Greeks and the Egyptians and the East Indians didn't even interact with each other. There was no internet. There was no snail mail. So how is it that historically we can look back at their concept of the 7 laws of the universe, and they all interchange? They're exactly the same. Okay, they're very similar. So one of the laws of the universe, and if you've got this, if you can manage this, you can tap into the universal mind as well. Science and physics is actually proven now. If you look up the work of Nassim Haramein, they're proving now that we are a connected universe. And you don't really even, where Nassim Haramein got, he's a physicist, a radical physicist. And where he got a lot of his education was in a van for the first 15 years in nature, because he started seeing the spin theory in nature. He started seeing the patterns and the mathematics in nature. And it's not just him, okay? They've already looked at the golden ratio, which is a mathematical equation that shows the patterning of things that grow, such as the conch. Is it the conch? Is a certain type of shell. The one that goes around and around in circles. And if you take slow motion and you take a look at even a piece of grass growing, it spins. It spins as it's growing. It spirals as it's growing. All the planets spin. Earth spins. They spin around the sun. Everything spins. Okay, this is a universal theory. If you look at nature, the acorn does not have to be told how to grow, when to grow, how slow to grow, how fast to grow. It just grows. Right? The flower isn't told to bloom. The which is it? The fly, Venus flytrap. It's not told, okay, you better close now. Someone's coming. Better open now. Something's coming. Right? It just knows. It's a universal law. It's very similar to our sympathetic central nervous system, which runs our lungs and our heart. We don't have to tell our heart to beat. We don't have to make our lungs breathe, right? And this is the same thing with the universal law of nature. The first universal law is of the 7 universal laws is immutable and mutable. Okay, the difference between immutable and mutable. Now, meaning they're absolute and can never be changed or transcended. They have always existed and will always exist. The other 4 laws are transitory. They're mutable laws, meaning that they can transcend. Okay, they can transcend. So the number 1 law is the law of mentalism, okay, the law of the mind, right? The first of those 7 is that everything is of the mind, that the universe is of the mind, that everything we see, everything that we experience in our physical world is an origin of our mental realism. So what we are is we're observers, and we observe by eyesight, by hearing, by touch, by smell, and by vibration. And some of us, a lot of us, and I can see this clearly when I'm working on some of my clients' charts, we do this through feeling, through intuition. We absorb the emotions and the feelings of others. And then when we do this, when we take this information into our mind, we translate it into whatever you are personally, what your filters are personally. You may translate it into beauty. You may translate it into frustration. You may translate it into something that emotionally blocks you or holds you back. You may translate it into something that's challenging, but worth the challenge because you like adventure. You may translate it as something that is heartbreaking or hurtful. And that's why everyone can watch the same movie. Everyone can witness the same accident. Everyone can experience a similar event or a situation, and every single one will have a different take on what happened. Because it really, and this is one of the things that radical physicist Harrison talks about, it's because of our point of reference. So if I take this right here, okay, and you're looking at it from my point of reference, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see that. But if you're over here, you're going to see this. And if you're up here, far away, you're going to see this. Right? And so it's all on your point of reference. But a point of reference is constructed by your filters. And your filters are devised by past experience, karmic lessons and debt and credit, your experience of a tragic event or a trauma as a child can change your perspective. So the number one law of the universe is that the universe is mental, that of the mind. They use the word mental, and I think that sounds funny, but it's the universe of the mind. Okay, and that's the universal mind, and that's what I tap into. In fact, we all tap into that, but a lot of us aren't aware of it. We can't translate it. We're not sure what it means. We may be afraid of it, and it doesn't have control. And everybody taps into the universal mind, always. We just don't always know it. The ones that do really, really good job at it, and they probably don't even realize it, are inventors, people who are in search of discoveries, people that are artists, musicians, very creative people tap into that universal mind. Have you ever had a problem that you've been trying to work on for many years, and all of a sudden something just pops in your head and go, why didn't I think of that before? Because you tapped into the universal mind where thousands of people have the exact replica of the situation that you're in, and they have found answers and they have found solutions, and you tap into that. That's why when you look back in history, hi Karen, you look back in history and you see that many people all over the world invented the telephone all at the same time. Just one person got credit for it. People made discoveries all over the world historically at the same time, because at the same time they were all tapped into that universal mind. And every time they made a discovery, every time they had an aha moment, every time they created a fix to the piece of the puzzle or something that was missing, that gets sent to the universal mind. And we can tap into that. And that's what I do. I tap into that. And I know people say I'm psychic or whatever, and I don't know if I'm humble or I'm a scientific person. I don't believe that I'm psychic. I believe that I tap into the universal mind. And the one thing with the concept of the universe is that we have the ability to turn that on or turn that off. And it really depends on our filters. The second law is the law of correspondence. The second of the 7 universal law tells us, as above, so below. As below, so above. It has to be in harmony. It has to be in agreement. There has to be balance and correspondence with each other. So for instance, the same pattern is expressed on all planes for existence from the smallest electron to the largest star and vice versa. All is one. So the ancient Greek temple of Apollo in Delphi was referring to this law of correspondence in the inscription, "Know thyself, thou shalt know all the mysteries of God's and the universe." Now I tap into the universe. And you know what we're missing? The biggest epidemic that is in existence right now is that we don't know who the heck we are. We don't know ourselves. And that's because we're being pulled in so many different directions. And our point of reference keeps shifting and changing. We have so much access to many facets of point of references that we lose sight of who we are. I want to be the best mom. I want to be the best wife. I want to look good on Facebook. I want to look like I'm happy when I'm really not. What should I wear? Am I boho? Am I hippie? Am I progressive? Am I professional? And what should I eat? And how should I take care of myself? And should I exercise? And what job and career should I have? And what about my parents? And I've got to take care of them. And we're just pulled off in so many different directions that we lose sight of who we are. And that's what I love about astrology. That's what I love about my tapping into the universal mind. When I read for a person or for a group of people, I can see exactly who you are. And I don't let my clients waver. If they come to me and go, well, my husband doesn't like the idea that I want to take this certain workshop. This has nothing to do with your husband, because I'll know the person, and I'll know that this person wavers on making decisions and choices and uses that balance of making a decision or a choice to procrastinate. And so I will swing that person back around and go, no. You're just using this to procrastinate because you're scared, because you're shy, because of you've got mama trauma, blah, blah, blah. Right. And often I just get answers. I just know what to say. And that is one of the major laws of the universe that I had just said. The universe has an energy that just makes everything happen. It makes the sun rise and the moon set, and it makes the winds blow, and the weather makes grass grow. It feeds our trees. The trees give us oxygen. They don't have to think to do that. It just happens. It's a law of the universe. So that's my favorite one, as above, so below. And in physics, and I'll give you an example of how this is an actual thing. And we think that we're different than anything else that's on this planet. Well, we're unique. We're completely different. We're not like that at all. As above, so below. What's that? No, it's the law. It's the law of nature. It's a law of the universe. If you've got a warm house and a cold exterior, it's cold outside, you open up the window. What did your mom say when you were younger? You're going to let all the cold inside of the house? You're letting the heat out, right? She wasn't just saying that. It's true. Okay. The universe nature wants to balance. So it's going to bring the cold in, and it's going to let the heat out. Literally, the heat's not leaving, but it's going to go out because it wants to create some balance, because this is hot and this is cold. We want to create some harmony here, some correspondence here. Okay. It's the same thing with humidity, right? So the universe is always trying to balance things out, and it will balance you out if you let it. If you've got a problem in your life right now, you got a decision that you can't decide on what to do, and you're overthinking it, and you're up at night and you can't sleep, and maybe you're overeating, you're restless, you're getting snappy at your kids, and you're fighting with your husband because you're really struggling with this decision that you have to make. Let it go. And let the universe come in and work with you and find the answer for you. Just sit there and deliberately say to the universe, I'm going to let this go. I'm going to free this up. I'm not going to think about this. And every time I start thinking about it, I'm going to just stop thinking about it. Oh, here it comes again. Stop thinking about it. Oh, here it comes again. Stop thinking about it. Just like a conveyor belt. And every box is a thought. You don't have to open up that box and look inside of it, right? You don't have to do that. So you just watch it go by. And then say to the universe, I want you to give me a deliberate answer that I cannot deny, and tell me what I need to do. Within the next 48 hours, let me know what I need to do. Sometimes I don't even say 48 hours, depending on how serious the question is. If it's like, should I move to another country? I'll just let the universe give me an answer, because we spend too much time controlling everything. The third law of the universe is a law of vibration. Everything vibrates. There was a time not too long ago, and they're just making these discoveries right now, where science said that everything was 99%, in fact, 99.9% space, emptiness. Everything. My hand, this computer, this 99.9% space. Like, how is that possible? Right? But when they broke this down and looked at tiny, teeny, tiny electrons and molecules, there was more space than there was atoms. Now they're saying that the space is constantly being used up by the molecules, because the molecules are vibrating at such a fast pace that, which they thought was quantum physics, because they would see a molecule here and then disappear, and the molecule would appear here. So they thought that was, or an atom, same thing. So not the same thing, but, and so they thought that was quantum physics. But now they're saying that this is the same atom. It's moving so fast. It's like ninja atom that we can't even see it. Just move from here to here. That's how fast it's moving. So that space is being used up by all of these atoms vibrating. Bing, 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 vibrating constantly in everything, even in you. So the third law is a law of vibration. Everything vibrates. Everything moves. Even this. Yep. If we put this in a microscope, we will see all these little baby atoms just going ding, 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 all over the place. Now, there's density, right? So something metal, actually something like this, is a lot more dense. The molecules move a bit slower. And then something liquid, I don't have anything liquid, but something liquid, the molecules are moving a lot faster, right? So everything is vibrational. Everything. And the really neat thing about that is the law of attraction. Like energy attracts like energy. And that's why they say if you're negative, you're going to attract negativity. If you're positive, you're going to attract positivity. Now, I beg to differ with that a little bit, because it really depends on where the emotions are. Because the emotions is where, and Greg Braden talks a lot about this with heart math, our emotions is what feeds the law of attraction. So we have to feel like we're in love in order to get love. We have to feel happiness in order for us to attract happiness. We have to feel wealthy in order for us to attract wealth, right? And the only way that we can do this, and I'll tell you, I ain't got this down pat yet. I'm working on it. The only way that we can do this is that we feel that inside. It's an inside job. That we're happy no matter what situation that we're in, that we're in love with life, and we embrace it no matter what situation that we're in, that we don't have that we're not looking too much into the past or too much into the future, because then we're detached, right? Thinking too much in the future creates anxiety. Thinking in the past creates depression. In most cases, thinking in the moment creates nothing. There's actually a tribe that has no word for past or present. And I don't mean no word for the actual word past and the actual word present. They don't have everything about, do you remember yesterday when we did this? What do you think we should do about tomorrow? Because this could be a problem. Because they don't think in those terms. Literally. Okay, look it up. I watched a whole documentary on it. It was amazing. So the next law is a law of polarity. Now, the fourth of the 7 universal law is that everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has a pair of opposites. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Okay, so opposites attract. So there's the polarity that you have. And this is what I tell my clients all the time. When they're struggling with a part of their personality trait and they're like, how can I stop being so nitpicky? How can I stop being so critical? I'm so hard on myself. I'm so hard on my husband. How can I stop doing that? I don't want that part of my personality anymore. Well, you can, because the polar opposite of being self-critical and hard on yourself is being an amazing problem solver, being loyal and dedicated, to be able to critique a situation and find answers. And if you work in a situation where that's your job, like in my case, I'm a Virgo, we're critiquing, and my job is to help people problem solve. Right? And I'm good at it. I'm really good at it. But I'm also really good at cutting myself up, being self-critical, and critical of my people that I love on a bad day, when I'm not in peace and harmony with myself. Okay, so I can't get rid of that, because then I don't have the other. So it's called misplaced, not misplaced aggression. It's misplaced personality trait. So you recognize that this is not, being critical at this time is not necessary. And you just witness it. Oh, there I go, being critical again. Right? Where's the emotion coming from? Where's the emotion coming from? So that's the law of polarity. The law of rhythm. The 5th of the 7 universal laws tells us that everything flows out and everything flows in. By the way, I'm getting this from mindyourreality.com, mind-yourreality.com, and then the stuff in between is me. So everything has tides. Everything rises and falls. And you can also, the law of gravity, it's the same. It's very similar, right? So the universal law means that a pendulum will swing. And they've actually done this. I don't know if you've ever seen this. You can look this up on YouTube as well, too. They can take, I don't know what they did it with, maybe 20 or 30 pendulums. The ones that they make a noise when they click, click, click back and forth. And they put them all clicking at different times. So they're all like click, 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 and they're all clicking at different times. And when they left it for a certain amount of time, they started to swing in harmony without anyone doing anything. They started to click back and forth all by themselves in harmony. What is that? Right? We need to learn from that kind of stuff. And that's what we do. If you're in a negative situation, if you're at work and it's negative and it's hard and it's difficult and everybody is in disharmony and everybody is stressed out and everybody is aggressive, no matter how happy you are when you walk into work, you're going to start to swing like a pendulum into their state, into their energy field. It's almost impossible not to. It's almost impossible not to. Right? So what do? You detach yourself, you meditate, you get another job. But what happens? We talk ourselves out of it. I can't get another job. I'm never going to get a job that pays this much money. I'm never going to get it. What happens if we don't make money temporarily? What's going to happen to my family? What's going to happen with my relationship with my husband? I won't be able to give my kids the new clothes at the beginning of the year. What's going to happen? We talk ourselves out of it. When in reality, there's more chances of you finding another job paying the same than there is of not finding a job paying the same. And in reality, there's more opportunity for you to find a job that maybe doesn't pay as well, but you're a lot more happier. A lot more happier. Maybe you downsize and you move into a new neighborhood and you love your neighbors. Who knows? The universe, you're in a miserable job in the universe and you're not happy. And the universe is going, when are you going to quit? Or are we going to have you fired? Right? So when you're out of rhythm, you don't feel good. You just don't. Right? And if you know that when you go to work, everyone's miserable. Okay, if you go to work and everybody's happy and everything's great, but you're still miserable, okay, that's an inside job. Take a look inside. What's going on? But if everyone's miserable, something's wrong. Something is completely out of sync. This is not natural. It's not in rhythm with the natural law. The sixth natural law, and this is one of my favorite ones, but it's also one of the most frustrating, irritating ones, is a law of cause and effect. Do unto others as you would want done unto you. And what is frustrating for a lot of people with the cause and effect is that we believe that we should witness that cause and effect immediately, right? So all those people that you met that are jerks and they're assholes and you can't stand them and they done you wrong and they're mean to other people, and you're wondering, when are they going to get their turn? It's not fair. Life's not fair. How come they have money and I don't, and they're miserable and they're mean? You wait. It happens. This lifetime is but a blink of an eye. We have many, 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 many lifetimes. And that person will get their due diligence. And often when I see somebody miserable and angry and bitter and mean to people, I think I would not want to live inside of that body. I would not want to be in that person's head. I would not want to be in that energy that I feel that way all the time. And I make people miserable because I'm miserable. So in a way, you are witnessing their demise. You're witnessing their misery. You're witnessing how uncomfortable they are. But cause and effect is a real thing. Okay? So this is in accordance of a law that every effect you see in your outside or physical world has a very specific cause, which has its origin in your inner or mental world. Every one of your thoughts, words, actions sets a specific effect in motion. Why? Because every thought goes into the universal mind. Every feeling goes up into that universal field, that unified field. It's a real thing. Okay, nothing would function without that intelligence that's out there that just makes things happen. Okay, so everything has a cause and effect, even in nature. Right? So does that mean you have to walk around feeling all positive and happy and glorified all the time? It has to be authentic. It has to be real. You can't fake it. I know they say fake it till you make it, and some things you can. But if you're not happy, if you're miserable, if you're a negative thinker, if things aren't happening, you can't, that's a red flag. That is a signal that something isn't right, that something is off key. I got a question from Karen's. I love your voice and how you explain such a calm reassurance and thorough way. Thank you, Karen. I thought that was a question, but thank you. I appreciate that. I'm in gratitude for that. And so, see, that just went to the universe. Thanks, Karen. You just helped me send something real positive out to the universe, right? And I am a negative person. Trust me, I'm a problem solver. If there isn't a problem to solve, I'll make a problem to solve. I saw this meme on Facebook. I shared it. I loved it. And it said, if you're in love with an overthinker, yeah, that's me. If you're in love with an overthinker and they love you back, be grateful because they found every reason not to. Right? So overthinkers. But you know what? I would like to be able to bring that down. And I will. I'm working on it, like to bring that down. But what I love about my overthinking is I'm addicted to knowledge. I'm addicted to science. I'm addicted to Gaia TV. I'm addicted to discoveries. I love the science of the mind. I love it. I get high off of it, right? I get giggly over it. So I don't want that to go away, right? The overthinking, I'm working on it, right? And I know it exists and I have to be aware of that. And that's the same thing with yourself. If there's something that isn't quite clicking in your personality trait that you don't like, it's okay. Just work on it. It's eventually going to go away, right? Just work on it, witness it, be aware of it. Sometimes don't work on it at all. Accept yourself, pamper yourself, give yourself a break, right? We don't live in a perfect world. We would like to think that we do, but we don't. Okay? And things happen. The other one is the law of gender. This is really neat because of where we're in this liberal, very free awareness that there's gender identifications. There's all different types of gender, not just gender, but sexual identifications. But the gender is the law. So either you're male or you're female. If you're female and you feel like you're more male, you can make that change and you can become male. You can dress that way. You can do the medical changes, whatever. But either way, now, this is where it's not 100%. Okay. And it has happened in nature, and there's proof of it. And it has happened in people where they are actually male and female. There is masculine and feminine body parts within their construct. There are actual types of insects and animals that are both female and male. Right? In fact, I think there's an insect, or is it a worm? I think it is, where it can create its own babies, however that works, or eggs, because it's got both parts. But there's still within that person are male and female, masculine and feminine parts. Right? Makes the one person, I forget what the word is, but it's, both genders, but there's still the masculine and the female parts. The difference. So I watched a really good TED Talk, if you look it up, on a woman that stands up, and she's both got female and male parts in her, and she was a great talker around that. But there's also the masculine and the feminine principles. And when I look at a client's chart, and I'm looking through the language of the universe, I'm looking at you, the essence of your soul, the essence of who you are. I can see if you're leaning more towards the masculine or leaning more towards the feminine. Okay, and one is not worse than the other. We got a right side and a left side of our brain. The left side of our brain is more masculine, and the right side of our brain is more feminine. And because the right side rules the left side of our body. That's where all of the emotions are, the artistic side of us, the intuition part is in this part of the brain. And that doesn't mean that that's where it comes from. It means that's where it visually, okay, that's where it hones in, that's where it takes in the information. Right? Because this does not create things. It just tells you what you see from your perspective, and it lets you determine what you want to do with that. Okay, it actually doesn't even store memory. They've shown now that it actually just stores impressions, holograms, imprints of what you've seen. Okay, then you've got your subconscious mind, which remembers. It has an imprint of everything that you've seen. You can walk down the street and there's 20 cars, 5 are blue, 3 are red. There's 400 people you've passed in the last hour, and all the different outfits and the hats and everything. This has an imprint of it all. And so this universe, this part of your brain, the subconscious part of your brain, has a direct connection to the universe. And that's why we can really connect to it when we meditate, when we're in an alpha state, beta state, and when we're dreaming. We can connect to it. And I'm going to do a whole thing on dreams Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on Facebook. I'm going to do a live, okay, on a free course on dreams. And that's at HollyHall. That's in the group only. You have to be part of the private group. So please spread it, share it with your friends, okay? And bring them along. So the law of gender. So we've got our feminine side and our masculine type. We want that balance too. And that's our heart, which is actually a brain. They've proven now scientifically that the heart has the same amount of cells and neurotransmitters in our heart as we have in our brain. Okay, the brain is how it's the screen, basically, of the projection of your life. Goes on the screen, that's your brain. And then it determines you as the witnessing what's being put on the screen of your brain. You determine how you want to take that. And the heart can really determine whether this is good or not good for you. What decisions should you make? How should you connect with that? That's what the heart does. the mistake that a lot of people make, and I'm going to get 2 more laws of the universe. The mistake that people make is that we think that our heart is our chemistry. We think it's endorphins. We think it's oxytocin. We think it's all of those good feeling chemicals when you meet somebody and you get turned on. When you see something that you want and it's like, I got to make money because I want that big house. I want to go on vacations all the time. It makes me feel good. We think that's our heart center, and that's not. That's ego. And that's desire. It's not need. Our heart only tells us what we need. All right. That one I'm working on too, because I'm like way in here too much. And so there's the law of attraction. That was the law of gender was number 7. Okay, so we did it all. The law of cause and effect. Great, so we did it all. So the law of attraction as part of the equation is that you notice that the law of attraction is specifically mentioned as one of the 7 universal laws. This is not to diminish its importance. However, careful what you wish for. How many times have you wished for something in the past, or you wished for somebody in the past, and you look back and go, oh, I'm so glad that didn't work out. So glad I didn't end up working at that job. Right? And sometimes we never really know. So we make up a story in our head that, if I just married that person, or if I just had that job, if I didn't move, my life would be so much better. If I didn't have that parent, if I didn't have that loser ex-husband, I wouldn't be so screwed up. We make this stuff up in our head because we don't really know. We don't know. We could have been worse off. We could have been the same. We could have been better. But you know what? When we're better when we learn from it. We're better when we know thyself. And when you know thyself, when you know your imperfections, when you know what your weaknesses are, because they are the opposite of what your strengths are, because they are the cause or the effect of an ability that you have, right? When you know that, you are halfway to the finish line, more than halfway to the finish line, because now you can work on it. You can't fake it till you make it. You got to work on what you got. You got to be real with what you have, because then you turn that into something that is your purpose. Then you mold that into something that gives to other people, right? Then you find happiness. When we serve, we find happiness. And when we serve according to who we are and what our talents are and what our gifts are, we find happiness. And what I love when I do sessions, and I got to go because I got a bunch of sessions I got to do after this, is I help you see that. 1 hour. I help you see that. And then when people continue coaching with me, I help keep them on track. Yeah, that's it. I wish I had somebody like me. Everybody's like, must be nice to be with you. Some people my husband must be so lucky to have someone like you. Yeah, I don't know. Right? Because it's me. What do they call it? The shoemaker's shoes, cobbler's shoes. Everybody's shoes look great except for their kids. He doesn't have time. Hairdresser's hair. Don't have time to do their own hair. Right? So, but yeah. It is a gift. It's wonderful to be connected to the universe. And if you follow these 7 laws, and I'm going to recap on them before I go. Okay, so we've got the law of mentalism, the law of the mind. And that is that everything that you everything that's projected to you goes onto that screen, which is your mind. And it's how you have a conversation with that, how you see that from your perspective at that moment. The law of correspondence, okay, that as below, as above, as above, as below. The law of vibration, that everything is moving, everything is vibration. The law of polarity, that is that everything has a dual, everything has an opposite pole. The law of rhythm, everything flows in and everything flows out. Also the law of cause and effect, I think that's self-explanatory. The law of gender, which is masculine and feminine. Okay, not so much sexual. It's just the masculine. Everything in nature has a masculine and a feminine. Everything within our bodies have a masculine and feminine. Our mind has a masculine and a feminine. And that's it. Now, I like to add one, which is new by Nassim Haramein, is the law of spin. Everything spins. Everything. And makes you think, right? How many of us enjoyed watching or doing it ourselves when we see kids spinning? Why do they do that? They just spin and spin and spin and spin and spin, then they fall down. And they laugh and they giggle and they love it. Or they roll down a hill, spinning. Why? Because somehow they know that we're in flow when we do that. And it feels good. Right? What about the rides that make us spin? Right? So that's my 8th law, the law of spin. Okay, everyone. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Carly and Kaya and Laura and Dina and Magic and Sean, everybody, all of you that have joined. Thank you very much. Namaste.